the Tegaderm, oozing stops. And that's kind of caregiver judgment. If you think he's based on what's on the inside of this dressing, he's not oozing as much, let's try the clear one. And then you put the clear one on and there is oozing, and just put the gauze back on. It's, you know, use your judgment. So initially, again, you'll probably need to double up on gauze. So the gauze dressing with some gauze underneath, and we'll go through that.
So we're gonna be changing this then every day probably for a while. I mean, I know it said once a week, but with the oozing,
Right.
you're gonna wanna change it.
Right.
Is it possible more than once a day?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Initially,
right.
right.
So that can lead us to changing the gauze dressing. If it's just the gauze dressing without any extra gauze, it needs to be changed every other day.
Okay.
And if it's gauze with gauze underneath, it's every day.
Because that means it's oozing more.
Right. And you can't see it, so you want to change it every,
Making sure it's
you know,
clean.
more frequently than if you
Is there any
could see
harm
it.
if you change it too much?
Risk of infection.
Right, just by
Because of
opening it up and
exposure.
moving it.
Okay.
So other materials we need to change dressings. You will likely get a pack of stuff that will have this in the pack. By the way, I talked to Home Care and you are 100% covered for these supplies.
Okay.
So in the pack of stuff, you will get some masks that whoever's doing the dressing and whoever's getting the dressing done will need. Skin Prep or Cavalon. Skin protectant. This keeps the dressing on, protects the skin. It's sticky stuff. And Chloroprep, which is to clean. What else is in the kit? Sometimes other things that you won't need are in the kit, so you can just ignore those things. I usually like to have some alcohol swabs near me because that helps with taking the dressing off. So let me run through a gauze on gauze dressing change. So as the caregiver, I'm always going to look at the insertion site, the most important part. If the dressing is clear, we're going to notice redness, swelling, drainage, pain. If it's tender, heat. And when, you know, if this was covered in gauze, we would look at it and look at what's on the dressing as well. And taking it off, sometimes using a little alcohol to get these edges up helps, but also pressing down the skin in the opposite direction makes it not hurt as much. But we all know that from taking off tape from ourselves and other people. So keeping in mind that this is the most important area, we're gonna leave this covered for the most amount of time. We're also gonna open our packs of stuff before we even get started, so forget that I even did that. Sorry, guys.
You lost most of your hair on your desk. I hope.
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah.
You got a little bit coming back or whatever is left.
Yeah, it's coming back.